Hey guys, Bigfoot here. Well, it's winter 2026 in Southern Oregon, and last night we got about a foot of snow. And so I'm going to take the chance to make a video on a few really inexpensive survival items, and we're going to test them out and see how they work. The first one is this little ferro rod. It was a $1.10 on Amazon. And then I have this Flissa knife. It was $2.29 when I bought it, and just a little kind of a Mora copycat. It does have a 90-degree spine here, so I can use it to strike that ferro rod. And the last thing is my water source. I got this for, I think it was $3 on Amazon. So it's about $6-7 for all three of these, and we're going to test them out. All right, guys, well, I'm looking for some tinder and some good fire starter to strike with my ferro rod. And lucky for me, in Southern Oregon, we've had a lot of logging, which is left behind old stumps. And so I found an old stump, and we're going to see if it has some fat wood or pitch in it that I can strike with my ferro rod. Let's go check it out. All right, well, we're here at this stump, and it's pretty cool. Inside here looks like a bear. A bear's been digging in there in the past, probably for grubs, tearing this old stump apart. And so we're gonna see if it has any pitchwood or fat wood left in it. Knock the snow off. Get down as much as you can. Okay, and then put whatever you're using. Make sure your tools always get put away in the snow, because it's really easy to lose your tools. And then you're one tool short. You might not be able to make a fire as easy, might not be able to carry water as easy, or cut things as easy if you lose your knife, ferro rod, or container. All right, let's try to get some of this out. Let's start with just kind of seeing if I can pull some. And then you can tell if this is fat wood or pitch by the smell. And it definitely has some fat wood in there. Make some nice feather sticks, and use that for tinder. So I'm going to grab a few of these. I'm going to put them in my pocket to keep them dry, even though fat wood will light when damp. So, but I'm still going to put them in my pocket. I'm putting them in my cargo pocket. All right, we got us a nice chunk of fat wood. That should start us all the fires that we need. All right, we're going to take this. Now we're going to go find us a spot where we would like to set up to hunker down and build our shelter until somebody comes and rescues us. All right, we'll see you in a bit. Okay, we've got our tinder, we got our fat wood and everything. We're going to go ahead and attempt to start this fire with our ferro rod and our Flissa knife. So we're going to use the back, the spine of the knife, and then we're going to use our ferro rod. Now these brand new, they come with a coating on them, so you do kind of have to scrape the coating off to get it down. Oh, it's already sparking. To get it down to the ferrocerium that makes the spark. All right, so let's try to do this. Keep these close by, so that way, once we get a flame, we'll be able to feed it. All right, so I'm just going to put my ferro rod right in these feathers. Okay, we got a flame. Now I immediately need to feed it. You don't want to feed it too fast because you don't want to smother it, but you do want to feed it. Okay, now I'm going to put my knife away, and I'm going to put my ferro rod in my pocket so I don't lose it. I'm going to grab our dry tinder that we snapped off the tree. Kind of break it up a little bit. Just kind of gonna lay it into there a little bit so it can catch fire. Then as it starts burning, you can lay it in a little more. Fire needs three things. That's oxygen, fuel, and heat. It's important to make sure before you start your fire, you have plenty of materials to keep the fire going long enough for you to find more fuel. It's important to keep your hands and feet warm. So you got to keep them dry is key. If they're dry, they can stay warmer a little bit longer, and it doesn't suck so bad to put your hands in your pocket when they're dry. Now I'm hitting those to get the snow off of them, so it doesn't get on me. Oh yeah, these are nice firewood. See, they just push right over. That's going to come in really handy tonight when it's cold and dark. You need to stay warm, get some nice sleep. And preferably you always want to take standing dead trees, because if they're standing, if it's rained or snow, the trees have a less chance of soaking in a whole bunch of water. Whereas if they're laying on the ground, all the moisture just gets right in there, and it's a little bit harder to find nice dry firewood. Just using leverage. Doesn't take very much effort. All right, so we've got our fire made. We've gathered a little bit of firewood, enough to buy us time to build a shelter. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this flat piece of wood here, and I'm just going to use it like I did the other one, and kind of sweep the snow away from where I want to make my bed and my shelter. I've got this dead tree here already, and it's solid. Pretty solid tree. I do have all of these little spots that I broke the branches off of sticking out. I'm going to leave some of them so that way it gives me kind of a notch to put a back wall on. But I'm going to cut a lot of them off because if I get up, I don't want to stand up and poke myself right in the top of the head, gouge myself with one of these sharp sticks. So I'm going to make sure that all these broken off pieces are pointing upwards, not downwards, on my person, because that could be a bad day. I'm going to take this bigger piece of pitch fatwood that I found. Fatwood's really hard, so it makes a good club. And I'm just going to use it to knock all those gnarly little pokers off. All right, so I have found this nice, dry, pretty solid stick. It's got a nice Y here. I'm going to use the crotch of this Y to help support my my ridge beam there for my shelter, just to make it a little more sturdy so it doesn't fall in on me. I don't need it super high, and I really don't want it super high because I need it to reflect as much heat as possible, but I do want it high enough, just high enough for me to be able to sit up in and stay a little comfortable. Okay, so now we've got our ridge line there, and I've got couple sticks there, but I need to gather more fairly straight sticks to put on the back for my back wall. Okay, so while we're building our shelter, we need to think about one of the most key elements of survival and life in general, and that's water. We need to stay hydrated. Our bodies can only go so long without water, not much longer past a couple days, and then you start feeling it, and eventually you die. So what we're going to do while we're building our shelter, we have lots of water, It's in the form of snow. It takes a lot of snow to make a little water. So we are going to take our bottle here. It's an empty bottle. And we're going to fill it full of snow and just set it near the fire. We don't want it too hot to where it melts our container, but we want it warm enough to melt the snow. That way we have something to drink so we can stay hydrated. Also, we've seen on some shows where people haven't stayed hydrated and they haven't been able to go number 2. They haven't been able to poop. And that's important. It's important that your body maintains as many of its functions as possible, which is all key to survival. All right, let's fill this up with some snow, set it by the fire, and get to building a shelter. Okay, well, we've got our back wall braced up. Now I need to find some boughs, maybe some bark, something to maybe insulate that just a little bit, but mainly to keep rain and snow off of me. Okay, well, I found what I was looking for. I found a nice couple dead ponderosa pine trees here, and the bark looks like it's coming off fairly easy. Nice thing about that is I can get big chunks of bark to make for a larger coverage, which also helps with ensure less leaks, so I get less water on my head and my body, and my shelter stays nice and dry. So to remove that, I found a straight stick here, and it's hardwood. Doesn't have to be hardwood, it's just nice. It's straight, so where it broke is nice too, because it's nice and tapered. I'm going to taper it just a little more to help me peel off the bark of that tree, so I don't lose it. Now let's go up here and peel some of this bark off. This stick also doubles as a walking stick, which can come in handy. Okay, so I'm going to use this tapered stick to kind of pry under the bark, and I'm going to get kind of a line of bark started like that. Now I can use this kind of there, got one nice big shingle. I'm just going to get a bunch of those and we'll take them back to the shelter and start building our roof. You always shingle from the bottom up. That way the top overlaps the bottom, kind of like your roof on your house, and it forces the rain to run off and over. All right, so essentially we have a shelter, and I've roofed it. We got my roofing there with the shingles. Let's take a walk around, check it out. Snow is coming down again, but here's the back side of the shelter, all my bark, and then the inside I got a little more work to do, but it'll get there. So I'm making my bed. I'm trying to create an insulating layer between me and the ground, and boughs work really, really well for that. And we are in a very heavily timbered forest, and the boughs I'm taking are very small, and I'm just taking 1 or 2 per tree, so I'm not hurting the tree. If anything, it might be pruning it and helping it grow a little better. Now, if you are in a snowy environment or rainy, it's important to stay dry, so our bed also has to be dry. But these have a little bit of snow on it. Maybe they got some rain on it. Good thing about snow is relatively dry, not near as wet as rain. So I'm just going to take these boughs I've gathered, and I'm just going to put them against the tree and try to get as much moisture and snow out of them as possible until they're relatively dry. All right, so we have our shelter, our fire. We got snow melted in our little off-brand Nalgene bottle, and so we're good for that. I've got a couple armloads of firewood broken up. Probably get a little bit more, but before we run out of daylight, we still got a couple hours, but I want to make a snare by those rabbit tracks that we saw. And I could use a shoelace, but I might need that, especially with the snow. I need to keep my shoes tight. Not super tight, but snug. I don't want a bunch of snow going down on my shoes. But what we have here, I am giving up a piece of safety gear, but as long as I'm careful, I'll be okay. And I might not have to give it all the way up, we'll see. But I'm going to use this cordage here to make a snare. So I'll take this lanyard apart, put my knife back in my pocket so I don't lose it. And we're going to go make a snare. Now inside of this cordage there is 7 strands of string, extra cordage. So I could take this apart and use the sheath, which is the outside green part, but I think I'm going to keep it whole because I might need it. Okay, so right here is where the rabbit went in. It snowed a little bit, but that's okay. What we need to do is make essentially a loop that will pull tight when something enters it. So I'm gonna make a clove hitch, and that allows for some slippage. And we're just gonna place it here. I'm gonna attach it to this branch right here, and about a fist off the ground, and hopefully he'll hop right through here, get caught in that trap. Now we got to funnel him in. So to funnel him in, just gonna block the entrance here. The only way for him in is to come through here and get caught in this snare. So we'll see how that works. See if we get a rabbit. I don't know if it's gonna work or not, but if a rabbit comes through there, it should work. So, all right, stay tuned.